Hello, it's George again. If you fancy reading something absolutely childish that quite possibly may well be the most offensive thing you've ever read, then buy my best-selling book. You can also sign up for my Patreon for hundreds of hours of exclusive content and, of course, check out my own Funkyspectrum website for more videos. Links will be in the description, and like and subscribe here if you want to be kept up to date with all the nonsense on YouTube. Now, let's get to the video.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Helmet on the Game & Watch. It's another interesting Game & Watch title in my ever-continuing Game & Watch series. It's quite a simplistic one, this, but I think it is a good game. There's other ones that are as simplistic and just don't have the same sort of appeal, but it's got that fine match between not being too tough and actually being, you know, it gets the adrenaline pumping, shall we say. And another thing that gets the adrenaline pumping is that this game is actually based on the working career of a well-known murderer. More about that as we start and get our helmet on in Helmet on the Game & Watch. Okay, here we are in the yard, Gacy's yard, because this is based on it's a game based on PDM Constructions, which at the time was a really big construction company in the sort of Chicago area, and it was of course run by John Gacy, who went on to become something of a notorious paedophile stroke a serial killer. He was a very, very strange and deranged man, and he used to play psychological trickery as well as vast acts of buggery upon his workers, and one of these tricks was he would lure them to his office. He'd say, come on, new 16-year-old boy, literally a day over 16-year-old boy that I've just hired, come into my office. And the boys would make their way to his office, and you can hear that little screech there as the boy goes, bloody hell, as Gacy's sitting stroking a tiny micro bricker, because apparently he had a very, very small penis, Gacy, but he would get himself all oiled up in the foreman's office and ride his t-shirt up over his belly, which he used to call his big bronco, and then ask if the children wanted to ride it. Well, they'd be young adults, but they were basically children, and they'd usually make that eep noise and just like evacuate the office. So that's what Nintendo based this on, because at the time psychological pressure being created in the workplace and being applied to workers was something that was not new to the structure of Japanese business, and in a lot of ways they sort of admired Gacy, and they thought, well, we'll make a game out of it, and they said, what will we call it? And he said, Helmet. And of course, helmet has some other connotations. Of course, it represents also the male glans peni, but the Japanese weren't to know that at the time. In fact, they wanted to call it Hermit, Hermit, but he saw that written down. It was H-E-R-met, just like they wrote stallion as S-T-A-R-I-O-N, because of, again, the mispronunciation with that. And he said, I don't want any women on this construction site. Can you fucking get it through your fucking thick heads? I can't stand the fact we've got fucking immigrants in this country, and I've got to speak to you on a level where I would speak to another white gentleman, because he was very, very racist, Gacy, as well. Just basically not a really very nice piece of work, but all these tools are raining down as well. It's a sort of psychological pressure, both physically and metaphorically, on these new young men that are working there. The only thing they can do, they try to work outside, they try to dig holes, but he said, if you want to dig a fucking hole, you've got to come to mine and dig it in my crawl space. It was going to be a dual screen game, but in the end they actually just had to do the one screen, because it turned out the Japanese subsequently figured out that Gacy had been basically bullshitting them as he did about everything in his life, and he wasn't like some massive contractor that did jobs all over America. Oh, Jesus Christ, he's knocked a little lad out. There's 2 misses now. No, he was just a fat, lying, murderous bastard that only did jobs in the local Chicago area, and even then didn't do them particularly well. But you can see these chaps have got nothing to do but run and avoid this endless rain of psychological and sexual torment. And Jesus Christ, he's dead there, and oh bloody hell, the poor... Oh, you can see the door of the office open. Gacy's taking a little look out. Yeah, that's right. Lie there dead. You fucking bastard! Of course, he'll have to hire another, just a day over 16-year-old to clean up that corpse. He'll put them in the crawl space. Anyway, great game this. Okay, bye.